So this is Christmas. What have you done?
I like it.
We're over, and a new one just begun.
Yeah. Where's my lighter, George? Where's my lighter?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very exciting Uski and Herbie show. We started a little bit earlier because we have a very special guest with us tonight. He is a three-star running back out of John Carroll High School, Roman Hemley. How do you say your last name?
Hemby.
Hemley.
Hemby.
Yes, sir.
Hemmy. Yeah, I hope I said it right. Who came from John Carroll High School up in Hartford County, the Bel Air area, and he's hopefully going to make Bel Air and everybody in Hartford County a lot of problem. No pressure, buddy. No pressure on that one. Getting the whole county behind you. So just talk about why Maryland? Because I was reading stuff today because this is early signing day. I heard Duke was one of your choices. So why Maryland?
It was a lot of factors that went into this for sure. I'll start by saying I felt like Maryland did a great job recruiting people from the state, and I feel like Maryland always has great people that are in the state, great talent that end up going elsewhere to play ball. And I figured, I'm from Maryland. I've lived in Maryland my whole life, so I want to put on for my state and hopefully bring some championships home. That was pretty much the first reason why I chose to stay home. But I also looked at it as, my brother, he went to Southern Mississippi, and he struggled a lot with, going through a pandemic alone and things like that. So I wanted to be able to stay close to home and see my family as much as possible because, I talk about how they're the reason why I'm here in the first place. So I always give thanks to them and God, of course, because without my family and stuff like that, I would not be here for sure. And they're definitely a big part of why I do what I do on the field.
Exactly. Yeah, Roman, you're a three-star running back. Who did you idolize growing up as a running back? I know in the state of Maryland we had some great running backs with the in the pro ranks at the Ravens and also down in the Redskins and all that stuff. Were you a Ravens fan growing up, or were you a more like that football team? We can't say Redskins anymore.
Oh, no, I'm a Ravens fan for sure. I was a Ravens fan since I was born. So my whole family is Ravens fans. And I grew up kind of, looking at a lot of different backs. I like different style of backs. It was kind of weird because even though I was a Ravens fan, I was a big fan of Le'Veon Bell. And I liked the way he was patient. I liked the way he made little things bigger because of his patience. And they always tell you, a lot of kids growing up in high school, they don't have patience. They get the ball, they run, they take off. They don't let their blocks they don't wait for their blocks or anything. So I looked at him and I watched the way he did everything. He slow played things. And that's kind of how I tried to model my game. And not only that, I can see that the things that he's done out of the backfield as well. He's a very versatile back, which is what I kind of wanted to do. And we have similar body types, so that's kind of who I went after, and I kind of studied his game a little bit.
Right on, Roman. From your senior year to your freshman year in college, what are some of the things you're going to be working on, not just in your game, but physically with your body, your diet? Talk to us about those things heading into your freshman year next year.
It's new for me, kind of in high school, you pretty much just play how you are, and the good guys are prevail, and the guys that aren't as talented don't get to see the field as much. But I know in college, everybody will be good. So my trainers, they're kind of already starting to get me ready for it. Putting on a little bit of weight, muscle, though. You want to be able to still be able to move and take those hits in the Big Ten because it's a good conference, and there'll be a lot of, grimy games and a lot of in between the tackle running. So preparing my body for that. But also, I think, starting as a freshman, I just want to get my name known. It's a lot of great pieces that make that puzzle at Maryland, and I just want to be that young guy that can come in and fill the void if needed and be able to, put on the pads and, just go forward with the plays that I get and hopefully become a leader on the team. I know, like, growing up, I was always a captain on my team, so that's something that I really will strive for, becoming a vocal leader, a lead by example guy, and just kind of have support from my family and make it big, hopefully.
Yeah, no doubt. Roman, you're going to have a lot more interviews, but you're never going to be interviewed by a guy who could see the future like me. Herbie and I, we put something together for you. This is what we call foreshadowing in the sports business. Herbie, you got it?
Oh no.
Yeah, I found a clip for you, bud. I don't know what year it is, but you took on Bel Air, and it was like you just took right up the middle and you just walked in the end zone. Bel Air, I'm sorry, I'm a Bel Air alumni. Our defense is terrible. Okay, I just want to let you know that. So, here it is.
Thanks.
So, Roman, next year you guys open up against West Virginia. Now, Herbie, do we have that West Virginia clip? Chris? Hello, Chris.
Oh no.
Chris, you're muted.
He's muted and he's frozen.
He looks like he's like
Hold on.
Chris.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Can you play that clip for from West Virginia next year, Chris? All right, hit it.
I don't have the West Virginia clip next year, sir. Where was it?
I sent it to you. Yeah, that voice thing that I sent to you earlier today?
No.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that. Let's get it going.
Oh, that's one time. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So anyway, but Roman, I got to say, I love that cartoon figure of yourself. That's pretty cool.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I think it's
a really neat little cartoon.
Herbie, do we have the clip? Cool. Hold on a second. Do we have the clip, or do I need to play it from my phone?
I got it. Hold on. Let me move it over.
All right. Hey, George, while Herbie's finding that, you got a question for Roman?
One, I want to say is I like Roman's attitude. He wants to win championships. So if he's going to win championships, he's got to beat, right? He's got to beat the Buckeyes. And the only Buckeyes that are good are the ones that are made with chocolate and peanut butter. Okay?
Roman, this guy's off the chain right here, Roman. Oh, my goodness, man.
It's just one of those things that someone's got to figure out a way to beat the Buckeyes. And if a guy from Maryland has that deep desire to go do that, give it your heart, man. You can do it. You can power a team and make them do the impossible.
Yes, sir.
First and goal.
All right, Roman, here we go. You ready to hear this? This is what's going to
sir.
happen next year. This is the foreshadowing. What's going to happen next year? Here we go.
Terrapins from the West Virginia 9-yard line on what has been a very impressive opening drive to start the 2021 campaign. And the catalyst on this drive has been highly recruited and touted running back Roman Herbie. And speaking of which, he's in the backfield. Here's the snap. Herbie takes the ball right side, makes a tackle inside the 5. Touchdown, Terrapins! Roman Herbie with his first collegiate touchdown on the Terrapins' first drive to start the season. We could be witnessing something very special in the making, Terrapin fans.
How you like me, Roman? How you like me? That's how we get down on Herb FM Sports Radio, baby.
I think that was amazing. Like if that were to happen, that would be a dream come true for sure. Because I always dreamt of having my name called on the big screens and being able to get the ball in the end zone for my hometown college.
Yeah, man, I wanted to put that together for you because, like I said, we're here every step of the way. I love how humble you are, man. Always remember that your talents come from above, not from anything that we do. Yeah, big dog. And I'm going to tell you something too, Roman. I want you to show up on campus with a big chip on your shoulder saying, oh, you're going to only give me 3 stars? Well, let me show those 4 or 5-star running backs what time it is.
So let me jump on that really quick there, Ewan. Okay? Remember, 3 stars are more likely to succeed than 4 and 5 stars, okay?
Woo! Love that, George.
Because you put the effort in, you put the time in, and you're hungry, okay? I tell people this all the time. I said, they talk about stars, they talk about 3, 4 stars, whatever. Don't get lost in those numbers. Be who you are and just execute. And that's what it comes down to. I'd rather have a team full of 3-star guys than a team of 4 and 5 stars, because you know what happens? They get lost. They get lost in the lights, like we talked earlier. Don't get lost in those lights. Just be true to yourself and be true to your team. Win for the Terrapins and win for your teammates. That's what it's about.
Yes, sir.
Right. Hey, Roman, any chance you're gonna want to play basketball? I mean, I saw some basketball highlights, man. You got a little game, man. You know, any chance of that happening, or just all about football?
I think it's all about football. I loved playing basketball growing up. I think it was more of an athletic thing. I felt like I was a little bit more athletic than some of the guys, so I was able to get by without a little talent. But now, you know, it's kind of like a defensive player, and that's all I will be able to do. So I would give it a shot, but I think my bread and butter is just stick with football and just try to push it out there.
Right on. You know, what do you think right now? I mean, you're so young and other areas need to develop, but what would you say is your greatest attribute right now as a running back?
I think my greatest attribute is versatility. I know when I talk to the Maryland staff, they tell me how they can utilize me in different ways, and I think that's kind of unique because, you know, you see a lot in the game today. There's backs that do one thing very well and they lack other things. So that's one thing that I tried to, you know, hone in on and make sure that I'm right in everything. I want to be a guy that can flex out into the slot and run routes and catch the ball. I want to be a guy that can run in between the tackles and take a little bit of that blow. And I also want to be a guy that can get in the open field and make people miss and outrun guys. So I think that's the biggest thing to my game that I have. It's not perfect yet, but, you know, I'm going to keep working at it, and hopefully I can be a versatile back at the next level.
Romy, you know what I heard the other day? I heard this come from Coach Kelly, and he says, my guys at running back, they're willing to do everything. They're willing to block. They're willing to catch the ball coming out of the backfield. They're like the utility guy.
Yes, sir.
That's what a coach wants. A coach wants someone that's going to give themselves selflessly to the team and do whatever needed from them.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
That's awesome. So enjoy your senior year. It's going to be, you already know where you're going, and, you know, to stay. You mentioned earlier, Roman, but it's got to be every, you know, kid's dream to go to college in the same state where you have your family, your friends, your fans. How special is it that moment when you first run out of the tunnel and to see, you know, your friends and family there at a home game in Maryland?
I think it's very special, and it's funny that you kind of bring that up. I know when I was going through this process, I had talked to my father, and he told me he's been a Maryland fan since 1974, I believe. And he said the thought of his son playing on the team was like the icing on the cake for him. So me being able to run out onto the field, see my mother, my father, my siblings, and, you know, my nieces and my nephews, I think that's the best feeling ever, because not only do I get to play for my team, I get to play for the people that, you know, I've looked up to my whole life. And I know that I'm making them proud by doing something that I love to do. So I think that's pretty much the most important thing, other than wanting to win championships and potentially make it to the NFL. I think that's something that will stick for me for a lifetime, because, you know, growing up in Maryland and playing for Maryland, I can tell my kids something like, I was able to stay home and be successful in my backyard. So I think that's something that's very important as well. But definitely running on the field and seeing my family is going to be a great experience, because I was able to see that my whole life, being able to have my support of my family through rec, high school ball, and now college.
Tremendous. George?
This guy is going to do great.
Yeah.
And, you know, no one has to give you the talk, Roman. But remember this, you own the name on the back of your jersey, okay? And I think I see that in you already. you know who you are, and you know what you represent. And you don't just represent the university, but you're representing your family. And I can see that you're going to do a phenomenal job of doing both.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
best of luck.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
means a lot.
we'll touch base with you sometime down the line, Roman.
Thank you. That means a lot. I always preach about having people in your corner and having your back, and it means a lot to know that you guys are sticking with me through this process as well.
Absolutely. And remember, when you fall
Yeah, we'll
asleep
try
at
to-
night, remember that recording. You just visualize everything. Work hard, and you'll get there. And you got three new fans right here. We got you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, Roman. Take care.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, man.
All right.
All right.
Happy holidays.
What a great
All right,
kid.
so it's Roman Hemley. Great kid. George and I were talking to him off the mic, and he's, like you said, he's down to earth, and he knows his name and back of his jersey and what George said. And I forgot to ask him about his major. I know he's not down there playing football just for the hell of it, so he's playing. He has to get it. Right. Communication,
Communications, yeah.
Hey, I'll say this, guys. I think he really liked that clip.
It was good,
That
dude.
was awesome.
I had a problem transferring it over. I have an old computer. This thing's old as anything. I had
No
I had to
worries.
turn it up.
So let me tell our audience who's coming up on the program, since we didn't really get to that when we started. Our next guest is Rachel Quigley, the executive director of the Myrtle Beach Bowl, which is the first season of the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Then we have, Herbie's favorite, Tom Clark, PBA commissioner, which we always love, our bowling. And then Mike James will come on to talk about the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award. Then, interestingly, George, what's the second half of our show look like?
Yeah,
Well, we got
No worries. I got it. So Kelly Hines will be here to talk Tulsa Hurricane football. They're 2 touchdown underdogs to Cincinnati this weekend. So, and then, of course, we're going to talk at 9:15, George. We're going in kind of your backyard to talk biggest ACC championship game in the history of the ACC. And then at about 9:30, we're talking Trojan football. So we got a full lineup tonight.
There's an ACC game this weekend?
Oh, goodness. That should be a good one.
Yeah. It's the independent Notre Dame. Independent. Wow. So, interesting week of sports coming up here. Championship week, So let's talk a little bit about, different games going on. You got the Big Ten situation with we talked about this last week, George. Ohio State 5-0 taking on a team like Northwestern. And what's your take on it, Uski, on Ohio State? Should they be in the Big Ten title game, or should it be Indiana?
No, I think they should. I mean, talent-wise, I just think it's look, the conference knows what they're doing. They're not going to miss out on a potential, payday from the college football playoff. They have absolutely every right to be in.
Yeah, that's true. But I just feel like the Big Ten is just changing rules as we speak. Like last week, George, right?
I had that conversation with Roman before, before you guys came back on. It's one of those life lessons. You're trying to teach your kid as they grow up. You teach them how to play Monopoly, Parcheesi, Uno, and inevitably they try and change the rules to the game as they're playing it to put it in their favor. Well, by the Big Ten doing this, they've just thrown all the practice I've tried to teach my kid, grown through the years, that you can't change the rules as you go. So it becomes that people try to fit things into how they want things to be. And I got to be honest with you, you got to let it play out. And if anything, there's going to be, I'm going to say there's going to be a large number of folks that are cheering for Northwestern this weekend. There's going to be a lot of people cheering for Northwestern.
Exactly.
That would just be chaos for the college football playoff committee.
Well, we also could say about USC. USC has the same record, 5-0. and they're not getting anybody. They're getting that 1% pretty much of going, to the college football playoff. It's like they both have the same record. It's like why? Because nobody likes the Pac-12. That's probably why.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The biggest problem with the Big Ten is that the way the conference is lined up, is that there's one side of the bracket that's weighted heavier than the other, and the other side of the bracket's kind of light. So the conference that comes out of the West is gonna, for the Big Ten, is gonna be expected to roll over and let them rub the belly. No, it can't be that way. There's got to be some type of a realignment in the Big Ten. It's too top heavy in the East Conference there, and they got to figure out a way to give another team a chance.
Well, I totally agree with you, George. I feel like the same way. So let me send. You guys go ahead. I got to send Tom Clark the link. So hold on 1 second. So.
Yeah, George. I just think disparity-wise in talent. I mean that's why they changed the rules from 5 to 6 games. I mean it's evident. I think, and it's also too in not just Ohio State winning, but how they're winning. I mean they're blowing everybody out.
Who are they playing you in? Who is Ohio State playing? I have a buddy. I mean, Michigan didn't play; they dropped out, right? But who else did they play in their conference? This is the problem I was trying to say, is that the alignment of this conference is in Ohio State's favor.
Right.
So I personally, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see a way that you get a Michigan-Ohio State matchup at the end of the season. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you have two powerhouses, one side of the bracket beating each other up, and the one team that cleans the clock of the other teams in that conference. And then you got to go play another side of the bracket that's not that strong. So I think you got to make the competition better in the Big Ten, and that's the only way you're going to do it is through conference realignment there.
It's a fair point.
I think a fair point there. So,
I'm just an let's
welcome in this next. Let's welcome in this next guest. She is now the executive director of the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and now that's the first bowl game of the season after everybody decided before her and after her. So there's a lot of things going on down there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Let's bring in Rachel quickly with us. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on getting this bowl game up. No problem. Congratulations getting this bowl game up and running, even during this whole COVID-19 and all that stuff. And now you guys are the first one of the year. So what's the excitement around there?
Goodness, we are so excited. We're so bummed for our friends at the other games that have been canceled. But we are keeping our fingers crossed that we can keep our staff and both teams healthy and that we will kick off at 2:30 p.m. on Monday.
Hey, Rachel, what are some of the challenges? I mean, obviously, there's been bowl games. I mean, I'm a Rose Bowl fan. There's been bowl games for hundreds of years. Now we're starting a new tradition, the inaugural season. COVID aside, what are some of the challenges on just getting everything in place?
Well, I've been extremely fortunate working with ESPN events and many of the other bowl games. People have been very kind and have sort of helped bring me up to speed and taught me the ropes and everything. So I feel like we're actually in a pretty good place. I mean, there's always challenges, but fortunately, I haven't been alone in this journey.
George, you got anything?
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead, George.
So, Rachel, I mean, you have your teams locked up, right? Is there going to be trying to create some type of a bubble atmosphere for the players and for the different teams? Like you hear going on in basketball now, they have these like bubble assignments for where people are staying and stuff.
Yeah, so the teams are in charge of their regular testing protocols as they've been doing all season, and we're doing our best to keep them safe as well. Any of our staff interacting with the teams, we're all going to be tested too, and if anybody's positive, they won't obviously be coming to the game on Monday or helping us out over the weekend. So really just focusing on keeping everybody safe and following testing protocols.
Rachel, how are you handling? I mean, whenever we talk about bowl games, we're like, oh, that team travels well, or they have a strong contingent. How are you handling, the ramifications with travel? Are family allowed to come? Give us some insight on that.
Yeah, so the schools still have some tickets for the student athletes' family and, VIPs of each of the universities. And we do have a limited number of tickets in the stadium. We're following the same guidelines that Coastal's had all season, so 5,000 people in the stadium. And while it's not the normal 20,000 we can have, we're honestly just thankful to have some fans be able to come out and enjoy our inaugural game.
So Rachel,
Yeah, look at this. Look at this nice field. Look at the field. That's a beautiful field. Who wants to play on a teal astroturf?
And I love it. I think it's a great, unique atmosphere.
Yeah. Go ahead, George. Sorry about that.
I was just saying, an 11-0 team loves playing on that field right now.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Hey, Rachel, I noticed, doing some research. I live in Charlotte. So I was wondering, I mean, I know you did some work with Visit Myrtle Beach. So I'm wondering if you still got some connections, I'm kidding. Oh my goodness.
Still have some connections in the area.
Right on. Well, listen, besides your game, there's also another game that I'm sure you're going to be interested in on Saturday. I know that you're a Clemson alum, and George, our buddy, covers the Irish, and he's like, I don't know if we really should get a prediction from her early on. We might have some technical difficulties, but having said that, can you give us a prediction on Saturday when Clemson faces the Irish?
Well, of course, I'm cheering for my team and hoping that they're going to win, but I'm a little bit superstitious, so I'm going to stay away from actually saying who's going to win.
All right.
Who's against me?
Rachel, one of the things that we talk about when we talk about bowl games are economic impacts for the city. Obviously, this is completely different, but just talk about the importance of just obviously everyone staying safe and having a positive experience going forward. But how are you kind of managing those situations?
Yeah, I mean, in a normal year when we can host a whole bowl week, we would be, taking the coaches and the student athletes out to local businesses to enjoy, there's so many attractions in Myrtle Beach and wonderful restaurants. And then of course the beach as well. And, there's just all kinds of events surrounding bowl week typically. And obviously we have to be a lot more careful this year. We've got a lot of health and safety guidelines, again, to keep everybody healthy, especially going into the holidays. So, honestly, it's challenging, but I did have a chance to talk to my friends over at the Myrtle Beach Chamber and CVB, and they were projecting the impact of this year's scaled down game to be $1 million for our area. So that's still a pretty big impact this year. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of impact we can have when we have the full bowl week. So we're still, again, really looking forward with the limited number of fans coming. There's still a number of people coming from out of town. So I do think it's going to have a great impact on the area, especially after the tough year that we've all had.
Some people will say something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. Absolutely.
Anyone have anything else?
It's cool that you guys are the first. Hey, I got somebody else, Rachel. It's pretty cool that you got, the two bowl teams are Appalachian State and Texas, North Texas. So that's a pretty cool, balance there. You got people from Boone, North Carolina coming over to have a nice warm weekend, and also people from Texas coming up have a nice, travel. Hopefully with this whole pandemic stuff, they don't get sick and bring it back home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to have both of these teams. We're super excited to have both of them. It's been fantastic working with them this week since the teams were announced on Sunday night. It sounds like their staff and athletes and fans are all excited to come to Myrtle Beach. And it's looking like the weather's going to be clear and in the low 60s on Monday. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way because that's pretty nice.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you so much
Oh,
for
that's nice.
coming on and joining us and giving us a little insight. Our eyes will be on the TV. We hope for a great game. These are two up-and-coming programs, especially App State has been kind of a little bit more established, but hey, the mean green, look out. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, Rachel.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You take care and enjoy watching our game on Monday. Hopefully it'll be a great one.
All right. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay, that's Rachel Quigley there, executive director of the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So yeah, Myrtle Beach is always warmer this time of year than we are. My parents went there on vacation back in last March, and it was like, oh, it's 80 degrees. I'm like, excuse me? Like, how's it 80 degrees in Myrtle Beach when I'm up here in Maryland and we just got a snowstorm? Come on now. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. Let's talk about these bowl games canceling. We had some good bowl games canceled this year. Like the Pinstripe Bowl canceled, and you and our friend Bernie decided to cancel the Sun Bowl.
Oh man, that stinks. Yeah, it's tough, but it's the times we're living in, But I feel blessed, George, and I'm sure you would back me up on this, to have, even football on Saturday, championship week. So I'm glad that hopefully everyone will stay in protocol and all negative. And Saturday is going to be an amazing day of college football.
It's going to be something that we didn't expect to get to. That's
right.
More ways than one.
It's a good point, George. And I think we'll appreciate it even more now, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to get a hold of Tom Clark from the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association. They had a crazy year as well. They started out in January bowling different stops, and all of a sudden COVID-19 came and shut everything down until they decided let's go to one area and bowl in Florida for the next 6 months. Because I guess Florida had a different restriction on people, but they were one of the sports that had to do a lot of moving around, moving pieces.
Yeah, you're right, Herbie. Yeah. So we'll see if we'll see how things play out. What's going on in the bowling world these days, Herbie?
Well, we're going to have Tom come on. Tom's going to come on in a couple of minutes. Hopefully, he's having a hard time getting on. I asked him to come on a little bit earlier to make sure it works, but he's a busy man there at the PBA. But they're going to start their season in January, this coming January, and they're doing something totally different. It's called the Players Championship, but they're breaking it up into 4 regions. So if you had money, you could actually join the Southwest region and win and go all the way to and if you win the South region, you may get some cash. Then you'll go right to the finals, and you'll be on Fox Sports 1 bowling against everybody from
I love it, Herbie. Oh man, I can't wait to talk to Tom about those changes.
Yeah, and Tom, who used to be a sports writer for USA Today, I would like to ask him how did he get involved with the Professional Bowler Store, because USA Today Sport. Yeah, so that's going to be on Fox next year, 2021 in January for 4 or 5 different weeks. So let me you guys talk about other stuff. I'm trying to get a hold of Tom here. So hold on.
George, how was Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was very good.
How's the family doing, brother?
Doing good. I'm on vacation. I started today.
It's nice.
The wife and kid are still in school. Their last day is Friday for the year. How was yours? How was your holiday?
It was pretty good, man. Fairly uneventful, but I don't know if Herbie told you, but I'm getting ready to sell my house.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to. The market's so good right now. I figure dip my feet in the water, see if I can make out with this place. But Herbie's like, hey, wherever you go, I gotta have a spare bedroom. Like it's not all about you all the time, Herbie.
Right.
Oh man,
So
but I should hopefully come out on top, George. So I just don't have a destination to go. So I'm just praying about that and just want to get set up somewhere else with maybe a couple bucks in my pocket. Herbie already called me out and said, when I come visit, you're taking me out for a steak. No more of this Applebee's 2 for $20 stuff. I'm like, whoa, man, stop hating on Applebee's, dude. Like, it's got to stop. But yeah, George, looking forward to it, George. So, hey, George, I got to ask you, and I don't know if I've asked you before, are you a natural tree guy or artificial?
no, I'm out there on my backside cutting that sucker down.
Yeah, I do. I knew it. I knew that was the kind of man we had. I knew that was our co-host, Herbie.
Give me the bandsaw, and I'm out there on my back. And I've had weather. I mean, I've had sleet, I've had snow, I've had rain. I didn't care. I'll bring a tarp. I'll throw a tarp down, and I'll sit on the tarp and cut the tree down so I'm not all muddy.
That's great.
We actually have two, we're one of those houses where we have 2 trees. So we have an artificial tree in front of the house, and then in our family room, we have the real tree.
Oh, nice. That's awesome, man. Hey, George, I know we're going to be talking about Notre Dame later, but I got to ask you, man. I was kind of surprised. Obviously, Trevor's back, but I was kind of surprised that Clemson was a double-digit favorite. I don't know your thoughts about that, George. I know we're going to get into it.
You're a betting guy, aren't you?
Of course, yeah.
So you played. So the line's important to you.
There's also a lot of bettors around the country. So, but yeah, go ahead, George.
I say to everybody else, I said just win the game. I said the only person that makes a difference to you is the person that's betting on the game. And I actually got a response from somebody online tonight about. I said, don't worry about the spread. They just got to win the game. I said, unless you're betting on it. And the guy's like, you bet you know what? I'm betting on that game.
Should be a good one. I mean,
I'm like, well, just give me your cup. My name's George Bashura. Here's my address. You can just write me a check for what you want to bet and just send me the check. I mean, I'll gladly take donations.
Oh gosh, George, that's funny. Well,
but you know what? I'll save it for the later segment, but I will tell you this: it's not going to be a double digit. It's not going to be a double digit game. You're giving Notre Dame 10 points. They're going to take those points all day long.
Strong words, my friend. Strong words. I'd like to talk about a few other games too, George. Chris, if we have a second. Chris,
you got time.
Yeah. I got to tell you, George, I like watching Northwestern play. They grind it out. They play good defense. They're tough. But when I look at the outside and the athletes, George, and I think about Ohio State's passing game, I got to tell you, George, I think that the 3 touchdowns are, I don't think it's enough, especially considering the controversy, Herbie. And we mentioned this earlier on in the broadcast about Ohio State only playing 5 games, and that Big Ten kind of waiver to get them into the Big Ten championship game. They might come out with a chip on their shoulder. What is that, George? I can't see it.
It says "Go Wildcats."
Herbie, what are your thoughts about the Big Ten championship game?
I think it should be Indiana and Northwestern. I think everybody's giving a free pass because we only played 5 games this year because we didn't have the Maryland game because of COVID. We didn't have the Michigan game without COVID. I'm like, come on, they shouldn't even get special privileges. They have to play 6 games. That was the requirement.
Participation trophies.
Yes. That's
all participation trophies.
So anyway, we're gonna try to get Tom by phone because his phone is the link's not working. So I know this is not the greatest thing in the world, but we'll get him on here. Yeah.
Actually, it kind of works
Yeah.
out pretty well. I've done phone interviews on my StreamYard, so.
Yeah. It just, we'll get Tom on here. Hold on one second.
Yep, I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Hey, Tom, you ready to go? We can put you on right now. We do the old ESPN thing, like the photograph on TV. So folks, we got.
I'm sitting here I'm about to walk into my league, and so I would
Right.
enter my phone. I can't. They ask me for the password, then the code, and then.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll fix it down the road for you. We'll fix together, you and I. But thanks for coming on tonight. Let me crank up the volume here on the old phone here. So hopefully you hear me. Yeah. So here he is. So Tom Clark, the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Org. Tom, tough season this year. With everything was going well in the beginning, and then all of a sudden COVID-19 just shut everything down, and then we picked it up at the end with a lot of good bowling, with the clashes and the all the World Series of bowling.
Yeah, well, we were actually one of the last sports to be live on TV on March 15th from Las Vegas. We had the World Series of Bowling World Championship, and I remember being there and being really nervous. No one really knew what was going to happen, and we had no fans for the first time ever. And if you remember, Belmo won that with his family there from Australia. And, so it was really really surreal, and that was March 15th. And then, we were really actually one of the first sports to come back, and we did a lot of made TV stuff in the summer in a bubble, and did like the King of the Lanes and different types of things, strike derby, try to keep bowling out there, and then being able to come back and finish the World Series and finish the PBA playoffs just like we had planned. But later on in the season, it actually, we really didn't miss any national events. We've had PBA Tour finals. We missed the Masters. It was the only one we missed this year that would have been on TV. We did miss some of our summer tour and our PBA 50 tour, and it definitely was a different feel and a different season. But we were lucky compared to some other sports in that the bulk of our season happened in January, February, and before we had to shut down. So, you're right, crazy. I mean, wacky. So, looking ahead.
Yeah. Well, you have a cool thing you're doing in January the next year. Hopefully everything's all perfect for 2021. You're doing the Players Championship, and I was telling my buddies who are on the program here that they could actually bowl in this tournament. It's a regional thing. So I told my friend Ewan get his bowling ball ready to roll. You might get a chance to go go win that money and go be on TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like for the first time we are sort of bringing a major championship around the country with 5 different locations where people can qualify for this thing. And the reason for that is COVID. I mean, it's tough to bring 100 players to one city from all over the world and bowl for a whole week and not expect anything bad to happen and have people be stranded or have a hard time getting home. And we just wanted to limit the risks, so we made the qualifiers local. So, and they only take 2 days. We're going to bowl 28 games in 2 days. If your friends can bowl 28 games on 4 patterns in 2 days and beat the rest of these guys, then they should be out there to begin with.
It's classic. Hey, Tom, you ever miss working at USA Today, being a sports writer?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah, do you miss it?
Oh, do I miss it? I miss things about it. I mean, I loved working in sports. And, when I was at USA Today, I covered golf more than anything. I covered everything, but mostly golf. And that was when Tiger was at his height, and so it was fun to kind of follow him around and walk with him on all the big courses. I mean, I was there when he made that shot on 16. That was my last Masters that I covered, was when he chipped in on 16. No one looked at that one. And Chris DeMarco. That was my last Masters working for for USA Today, and then I went to working bowling. But so I miss some parts of it, but I mean, nothing beats being around the best bowlers in the world and trying to bring more attention to the sport that I really love more than any other, which is bowling.
Yeah, you're right now outside of the bowling alley getting ready to bowl your league bowling. That's pretty cool.
Out bowl there in Wisconsin. I bowl Wednesday nights. So, we don't stop for about a half hour here, but you know, you gotta have one beer before you bowl, right? So you know, they're waiting for me in there. You know, in Wisconsin, you can't stop bowling. I mean, I feel so bad for people in Michigan, Illinois, California, Pennsylvania. I mean, there's so many different guidelines and rules, and safety is first, and everybody will be in a mask. We keep our distance, and there's no more high fives. You know, lots of things about bowling league, but one thing I've learned about bowlers is they want to bowl, and when you have youth tournaments or you have a league or you have anything, everybody shows up because it's just kind of in your DNA. If you're a bowler, you have to bowl. It's like breathing, and so I feel for the people that are shut down. And we all know here in Wisconsin that we're lucky to keep bowling. So in order to keep bowling, you gotta do things the right way and not screw it up, and not have a lot of people, you know, come down with this stuff. I mean, you need to be safe, and there's ways to do it in bowling. I mean, when you're up on the approach, obviously nobody's in front of you, no one's around you, and there's like a natural social distancing when you are actually bowling, and then you just the fun stuff about hanging out after and sitting around in the settee and talking like the old days. It's just not the same, but we still are out there competing.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I do have to ask you one question. I know you're the commissioner of the bowling league of the professional bowlers tour. Do you call anybody that you know for any help? Like if you need help with anything?
You mean help with what? With ideas?
No, with your game. You know, like talk.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I was talking to Sean Rash today. I mean, I'll take any free tip I can get. I mean, those videos. You know, that's the thing that this year. My son is 17, and he really is starting to take bowling seriously. He's become very good. He's averaging 225 in his league, and he bowls tournaments every weekend. And he's going to be at he bowled his team masters this summer, and he wanted to try out for Team USA, but that got canceled this year. But he's really good, and so I lean on the pros a lot to give him send videos of him bowling, and when the Belmo on the phone, and a guy like Belmo will take time out of his day to help my son understand what areas he needs to work on. I mean, that's really special. The guys are all great. Every PBA bowler, they want to help people get better at bowling. They want people to love bowling, and they'll talk bowling anytime, anywhere, and help kids. And so the stuff that they've done for my son, I really, really appreciate.
That's cool. Well, Tom, I'll let you go so you get ready for your bowling tonight, and have a happy holidays from all of us here, and can't wait for January.
Yeah, next January we'll be on live on FS1 on January 24th with the first regional of the PBA Players Championship, and then it'll be 4 more weeks of these regionals where one person will win each week, and then those 5 winners will meet on February 21 on Big Fox broadcast for the championship, or the Players Championship, and it's $250,000 for first place this year, $1 million purse. So yeah, you better get practicing and get down to the lanes where everyone's near you and give that thing a run. But it's going to be tough, and it's going to be a hell of a way to kick off the season, and I think in a really safe way, and make us launch into hopefully the second half of 2021 where we can get back to fans and pro-ams and having a good time out there, and both from week to week in different cities, and that's our goal.
Exactly. All right, Tom, thank you so much. Have a great holiday.
You too. You guys too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was Tom Clark, the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Sorry we couldn't get him on video because he had problems with his phone. But Ewan, I think you can do that, George. Maybe I can have retirement. Maybe I have to go practice.
I need to get some new shoes. My bowling balls are okay. They've got me through tournaments in the past. They can get me through this one.
Yeah. And I need a coach, and so you want to be my coach and be like, hey, come on, man, get it done. Come on, Uski. Yeah, but no, it's great.
Yeah, bowling is a lot of fun, and we've had a couple bowlers on, George. They're engaging, charismatic people, and bowling's great because it's a social distance sport. So it really, I mean, besides the guys having the masks on, it seems like things haven't really missed too much of a beat in bowling.
I was gonna say, bowling is the ultimate social distancing game. It's just you and the pins in front of you, unless you got some idiot that runs up on the side of you when it's your turn to shoot.
Yeah. George. Hey, George, you used to be a youth coach, for bowling?
Yes, sir.
How about that? Hey, what's your high?
I was a certified youth coach for bowling.
That was cool. Wow. Hey, what's your, if you're teaching, I got to call you out, George. What's your high all time in bowling?
279.
Wow. Herbie, you got to give him some props on that, Herbie.
Oh, that's good, man.
Wow.
I had 9 in a row, and I ended up with a 10 spare for 279 out the door.
Oh, my goodness, George. That's insane. What a story, man.
See, you never know.
Wow, that's crazy. So my top is going to be a proud 177. How about you, Herbie?
Well, mine was actually 250. Yeah, I bowled a 250 one time, and it was in league play. It's pretty funny when in league play you get people from all around watching you. So I was I had 4 strikes in a row and then 5. And then all of a sudden I turned around and it looked like I was on the professional bowler store. I was like, all right. So I'm sitting there going, I got to, and I had to calm myself down because I always think, when I was a kid growing up, PBA on the professional store, my mom yelled at me when I was a kid saying, you're not on, Chris Shackle is not behind there. Calm it down. I'm like, okay, sorry, man.
I was actually on the
I grew up watching. Yeah, I grew up watching it every Saturday, and I thought I was on TV. Here in Nelson going, oh, I left the 4-pin.
I bowled in a national tournament out in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the amateur tour.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
And I cashed.
And did you do
I cashed, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, with these bowling regionals, you got to spend $250 to even, to put your money towards the and then if you win, you get $400 back. That's not bad, If you're not in the top 16, I'll take that any day. So, but I think I might be getting out of retirement like Roger Clemens. I gotta start a low 8 ball.
Talk about a game that's about muscle memory. Bowling is a muscle memory game. Your stroke, exactly. Your delivery, your approach, it's all muscle memory. One of those gets messed up, it's all done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your wrist too, because I have a friend, Danny Wiseman, he had to get wrist surgery because every time he turned the ball, he turned his wrist, and over time your wrist wears out, like every part of your body. So he had arm surgery, and he's not bowling anymore, but he used to bowl a lot on TV. So it's not bad. Let's turn the page here, folks. Let's get to awards coming out. There's a big award coming out for the best. I think he's the best player, but it's the Jim Cooper Award. Is it defensive back? Okay. Yes. There's a lot of people over the years, got this award, like Bernie Blaze from Miami, Malcolm Jenkins, who is now with the Saints or Eagles. He won it a couple years, a long time ago. So. Let's bring in Mike James, who is out there in beautiful Oklahoma. So, Mike, how's everything? And thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Chris. And, Oklahoma isn't really that beautiful this time of year, especially with about 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, we have the same thing out the door here. We got snow. So, thanks for coming on. Just give everybody a crash course in this award. This is a Jim Thorpe Award. is the best defensive backs in college football. And over the years, there's some great people. Like I was just saying, Bernie Blades from Miami was one of them, and Malcolm Jenkins, from Ohio State won it years ago. So just talk about this year's class. You got a Miami Hurricane, you got a Alabama Crimson Tide, I think you got a Tulsa guy over there too.
We do, and this, because of the crazy football season that we have right now, we have probably more guys recognized on our semifinalist list right now from non-Power 5 conferences than we normally have. Guys, and I'll just throw some last names, and Wiggins out of Cincinnati, Green out of Tulsa, Richie Grant out of UCF. I mean, there are a handful of guys on this list that are non-Power 5 schools, but are solid players.
Yeah, Mike, when Herbie and we always vote for, ACC Player of the Year, Player of the Week. How are awards like this determined? Who is the kind of the governing body of it, if you will?
Well, I don't know on that. I will say that we have a Paycom Jim Thorpe Award Player of the Week, and we work with Phil Steele and his group real close. Yeah. And, because that's you guys know, that's all they do is watch football. And so we really lean on those for the Player of the Week contestants. But then when it comes, and Chris, but then when it comes down to putting our list together, we do that at a local level until it comes time to vote for the winner. Then we send that out nationwide.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned earlier, I mean, this is such a unique year because there's such a limited body of work. Talk about those challenges, because you obviously, I love the non-Power 5 schools getting recognition, and certainly they deserve, they're athletes too. So talk about the challenges to get enough film on these players to get them, as a finalist, a semifinalist, and those challenges.
Well, and that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. And it's not so much not getting enough material on them on the field. The Thorpe Award, we are more of a character award, even though some people call us the defensive Heisman. We are more of a character award. If you had to weigh it out, we're 51% character, 49% play on the field. So what has made it a little difficult this year is normally every year we have almost 35 to 40 different people in our committee, and they go to games every weekend across the country from coast to coast on their own dime. And the reason that we do that is because we want to meet the players. We want to talk to the coaches. We want to talk to the parents if we have an opportunity. And basically what we want to do is we want to find out the character of those individuals. And that's the hard part. That's been the hard part this year because we haven't been able to go to games. And so we're having to rely on making phone calls to SIDs and to coaches, and then also doing some digging, like just Googling someone's name and saying, not for profit or in the community, and some news, we'll be able to find some news reports like that. But that's really been the challenge for us this year is the whole identifying the character side of them, since we're not able to get out there and see them face to face.
Interesting.
That's true. Because I know last year I helped you out with the guy from Notre Dame, Love. He was we were up in Yankee Stadium, so I got a chance to talk to him after the game. This year I haven't left my house to any game. I've been doing Zoom calls and all that stuff because it's a lot easier just to stay home and don't fight this stuff.
And Chris, if you remember, Jordan Love was one of our finalists. A great young man.
Right.
But
go ahead.
No, please go right ahead.
Yeah. So Mike, I'm so curious because obviously when we're watching NFL, this is a big kind of, when I looked up Jim Thorpe, he was so well known for doing so many more things than just playing defense. So, it's interesting that you integrate that character because so many other awards, Mike, I have to tell you, I wish that they would have balance like that. Has it always been this way?
It always has. The Thorpe Award was founded back in 1986. And here's the crazy thing. Now, this will probably blow your mind. Jim Thorpe passed away in the early 50s, but he had when we founded the award in 86, he had 3 sons. not grandsons, 3 sons that were very active with us. And the final remaining 2 sons just passed away in 2019. And they were very, very active. So when we assembled this award, we sat down with his students and we said, it was Jack, Bill, and Richard Thorpe, all Jim's sons. We sat down and we said, what's important? And they said, naturally, play on the field is important, but what's more important and what we know would be important to our dad is character. And they said, a lot of people looked at, this is kind of me paraphrasing what they said. They said, a lot of people looked at my dad and only saw the man on the field or on the baseball diamond or on the Olympic grass, or, all kidding aside, winning a ballroom dance contest. I mean, the guy did it all. But the thing is nobody, they said, very few people really got to know him. And so they said character would be most important for our father. So that's when we said, okay, character's 51%, play on the field 49%. But here's the thing, guys. If you're a Division I defensive back starting, regardless of the conference, you got to be pretty darn good, right? So we know the play on the field is there.
Yeah.
So now let's look at the character side of things. And that's why it's so important to us.
Mike, I love that. I got to tell you something that's on my bucket list, man. I want to do some tornado chasing. Can you put me up in Oklahoma, brother?
You know what? Yes, that can happen. We have some incredible relationships with the local news folks, and I bet we could probably pull that off.
Mike, I love you, man. Hey, how was Thanksgiving, man? And how any special plans for the holidays, Mike?
No, just going to hang out at the house, with everything going on, even though the vaccine's out there. Just going to try to make good decisions and stay safe. That's about it. I got to tell you, talking about Thorpe, I came across in our art, because we're home to the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame and the Jim Thorpe Museum. And we have 3,000 plus pieces of Thorpe memorabilia in the museum. And I came across a 1949, you guys, if you get a chance to look this up, Sport Magazine in 1949 did a one-on-one interview with Jim Thorpe. A writer by the name of Al Stump sat across the table in a restaurant from Jim Thorpe and interviewed him. And it's a 10-page interview in this magazine, 1949 edition of Sport Magazine. And we put out a weekly newsletter. And so for the last 2 weeks, I've been writing, taking excerpts out of this thing. And I mean, to read this article and know it was Thorpe talking to this guy, it wasn't coming third hand or second hand. It's pretty darn amazing. The guy was amazing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Kind of underneath the helmet,
Wow.
Hey, Jim Thorpe mic'd up. No, I'm just kidding. That was.
Oh, I love it, Mike. George, Chris, you got anything else for Mike?
I was just going to say, I kind of wish they did that with the Heisman Trophy. Mike, there's been so much stuff over the years of these guys that go out and get the Heisman Trophy, but they have all that baggage. Yeah. And to me, it hurts the name on the trophy. You're supposed to represent you're representing that organization as the Heisman Trophy winner. They're bestowing that honor on you, and then there's so many folks that have come through that it just doesn't work that way. That the 51% that you're looking for is not there. And to me, it kind of hurt. It kind of degrades it a little bit.
Well, when we were talking to the Thorpe sons about that, we asked them a series of questions. But one of the questions, George, we asked is why? And they said every winner that takes home that award is going to be part of the Thorpe family. They're going to be tied to our dad. So why wouldn't we want him to be a good citizen? Now, here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. And here's the thing. After you present the award, we have no control over what happens.
Yep.
But I can promise you this, if it's very, very rare that, and I don't say this braggadociously, it's just very rare that you'll find a Thorpe winner with baggage, even after the fact. See,
there you go. That's it, because you're the character of getting that doesn't change. Yeah. Typically, it's the as we talked with the guy earlier, Roman Herbie. He's an incoming running back. You have to carry yourself in a certain way, and there's an honor, and there's other people that you influence by your behaviors.
Yep. You know what? I'm gonna throw an invitation out to you guys. This year, in 2021, our banquet's going to be held March 30th. It's late. I mean, so next year in 2022, we're going to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Thorpe Award. And when we had our 25th anniversary is when Morris Claiborne won it from LSU. We had 13 previous award winners come back for that banquet. So when we celebrate the 35th in 2022, if it goes as planned, it'll be the Tuesday after the Super Bowl in 2022 in Oklahoma City. We're going to make every attempt to get as many past award winners back that we can. And you three guys, you got a seat at the table if you can get out to Oklahoma City and join it.
Come on, Mike. That's what I'm talking about, Mike. I don't know the two-step, though. I don't know how to two-step, Mike, and I'm really just frantic about it. Can you help me out, Mike?
You know, that but there's no two-stepping going on. Unless you go out afterwards, then you know what? I'm sure that there'd be somebody there that would basically show you how to get that done.
And the best part about Oklahoma,
what's that?
There's no hills out in Oklahoma.
You what now?
There's no hills. There's no hills. It's flat. You could see a storm coming in from like 50 miles away. You can see that sucker coming in. It takes time, but it's the coolest thing that you'll ever see.
And a couple years ago, they just built a new energy building in downtown Oklahoma City. It's the tallest building in Oklahoma, but you can be in 30 miles away in another city on the highway and see that building 30 miles away because in Oklahoma City, it is pretty flat.
I love Oklahoma, by the way, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, I got to ask you, is it a prerequisite to come to your state? Do you have to own a pair of cowboy boots? Lay it on me.
You should. Now, here's the cool thing. All of our Thorpe Award winners, hey, listen, this is the best. When our Thorpe Award winners come to town, most of them have never been to Oklahoma City unless they happen to play OU or Oklahoma State, and then they stay in Oklahoma City. But we have a deal worked out with a local Western wear company, and they give every award winner a brand new pair of boots and a hat.
See, Ewan, I have a Stetson.
You're in. I got to tell you, hey, here's the crazy thing. Jonathan Banks, who won our award, I think in 2013, maybe he's from Mississippi State, Jonathan Banks. He breeds and raises horses. He came out here, and if memory serves me right, we took him over there to get fitted for his boots and his hat, and they gave him his boots and hat. I think he bought one or two more pairs, and he says, man, this, I do this all the time because I raise horses, and he was right at home. But yeah, it's quite an experience for our Thorpe Award winners when they come out.
That's so cool, Mike, man. I'm never going to look at this award the same.
Man, listen, I promise, if you get a chance, Chris has all my contact information. If you guys would like to get we put together a weekly email. It's called Friday Features, and it talks about what's going on. We have an artifact of the week, and then this day in Oklahoma sports history, and we do it every Friday, and it's a quick read. I promise it's not time consuming or cumbersome. But last week and this week, and then next week, I'm taking excerpts from that article all about Thorpe. And if you guys would like to get on that mailing list, you can cancel anytime. Just drop me an email and we'll add you to the list. I promise you guys, you'll dig it. And I'm telling you, Mike, 3 to 4 minutes out of your Friday. That's it.
I'll take care of that.
I'm in. I'm sold, man. So we got to figure something. You got to talk to that guy at Western Wear and say, look, this guy didn't win the Jim Thorpe Award, but he's a good man. Let's take care of him. Some of those boots can, you know what I mean, Mike?
We
don't all have the big dollars like you. You know what I mean, Mike?
Forget about it. I'm sure we can figure it out.
Wow.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
No, I have to. I'm trying to visual. I'm trying to see that.
Mike, I got a question to ask you real quick.
Yes.
Yeah. Real quick, you guys. Yes. I was reading today online. You're home to the Johnny Bench, memorabilia. All the Johnny Bench's stuff because he's from Oklahoma, right?
He's from a small town in western Oklahoma called Bingham, and he came into the museum. We had just a few pieces, and he came into the museum about last spring, and we started working with him to try to acquire some more memorabilia. And he and his son Bobby brought us a few items. And then when he had this auction, and I'm sure, Chris, like you said, you read that, when he had this auction, a fan of his bought over $1 million, turned around and donated it back. So Mr. Bench is kind of splitting it up. So we're excited. I mean, as a matter of fact, we sent a press release out today about that. And we had, we're home, like I said, home of the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. And it's just, the sports legacy in Oklahoma for being one of the youngest states and one of the smallest states is unbelievable. I mean, Mickey Mantle's from Oklahoma. Come on.
Wow, that's cool.
That's awesome.
So you guys come out for the banquet in February 2022, you can see all that.
That's awesome. Mike.
All right, George. It's the Tuesday after the Super Bowl in 2022.
Hey, we'll be in touch. You're family right now. And Mike, Ewan is my name. You can see it. It's spelled EUAN, but it's pronounced Ewan. You can't lose with a name like Ewan. You know what I mean, Mike? I got a million of those, MJ. What do you want from me? I got to get out of the house more. What do you want?
You guys need to come out.
MJ, we love you, man. We got to have you back on. Hey, why don't we have you back on after you give the award out? We'd love to have you back on to talk about that.
I couldn't hear. Something happened.
So after you give out the award, Mike, we'd like to have you back on to talk about, the recipient and what went into giving him the award. If you'd like to come back, Mike, we'd love to have you.
That'd be wonderful. We will narrow this Monday. The final three will be announced. The three finalists will be announced. Then January 7th is when the winner will be announced. And it'd be more than. And then we're hoping the banquet will be held March 30th. Again, it's normally in February, but we pushed it back because of COVID and everything, in hopes that people will still come. But I'd love to. Man, this has been wonderful, and thank you guys for having me on.
You got it, MJ. Take care of yourself. Happy holidays, all right? Sun's out, guns out, baby. Come on, Mike.
All right.
We're doing that tornado chasing, man. Let's do it, Mike.
Storm chasers.
Love you, Mike. Take care. Happy holidays,
guys. Mike, happy holidays.
And to you guys, we'll see you.
Happy holidays. See ya.
George, did you say you had a pair?
That was Mike James who.
You got a pair of cowboy boots, George?
I got a pair of cowboy boots and I got a Stetson.
Yeah. What is Herbie? Do you have a pair of boots?
No, I'm from New York.
I know, dude. I don't either. I mean, I used to have Timberlands, but these are real cowboy boots. I want to get George. What does Stetson mean? Am I supposed to recognize that?
Stetson is like the name brand in cowboy hats.
Oh, okay. Oh, in cowboy hats?
If you give me 2 seconds off camera, I can go grab my Stetson.
Go ahead. Are you kidding me? I want to see these bad boys. I bet they're going to look awesome, Herbie. George has some style, man. I got to start taking some notes. This guy's a style and profile. I don't know how he ended up with us, deadbeats, Herbie. Man, it's great to be back on the show, Herbie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know George is going to get his Stetson. What's bringing this young lady who covers the Golden Hurricanes, Kelly Hines, who is sitting nice and patiently on in the bullpen. So George is going to get his Stetson and his cowboy hat. So Kelly, you probably know a lot of guys around there had a lot of Cowboys hats there in Tulsa, right?
Yeah, that's not something I have a lot of background in. But I went to a university that the school mascot was a cowboy, so I feel like I probably should have some stuff like that, but I do not have. Wow.
Oh, George, I love it. George, that's great. George, oh my goodness. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. The Golden Hurricane, we just had a guest on that was in Oklahoma, and I said, I want to go storm chasing. And he's like, bring it on. And then I'm like, whoa, maybe not,
No, you do not want to do that. My hometown is actually more Oklahoma, where a lot of the tornadoes have hit. Would not recommend chasing any storms around there. They are legit. May in Oklahoma is kind of scary, especially in the Oklahoma City area, which is where I grew up. Here in Tulsa, we don't get as many of the tornadoes. We still get some, but storm chasing is like crazy here. It's what people do for fun. Like, crazy here.
Yeah, Kelly, I was surprised to see that
Well,
despite Cincinnati's record, Tulsa's a 2-touchdown underdog. I mean, they have a real chance to kind of make some noise and get in the forefront of college football. Talk about this opportunity they have this Saturday against the Bearcats.
Yeah, I mean, Tulsa's been waiting for a long time to play Cincinnati. The regular season meeting was supposed to happen October 17th in Tulsa, and then it got pushed back because of the Bearcats COVID situation. Then it was supposed to be December 5th, and then it got moved to December 4th, and then to December 12th, and then it got canceled last week. So this is an opponent that Tulsa is really wanting to play. Some disappointment because the championship game was awarded to Cincinnati to host, and Tulsa didn't even have a chance to play for that. So I think from Tulsa's perspective, they're embracing that underdog role. Everybody, when they talk about the American, they talk about Cincinnati, and Tulsa's kind of just this forgotten other team that's undefeated in league play. So from their perspective, I think there's plenty of motivation. They've been waiting so long to play Cincinnati. They've prepared for them multiple times in the year. So it's finally happening. Everything is pointing to it finally happening.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Let's talk about Collins from you guys. Xavier Collins. We were supposed to get him on the show last week, but we had a problem with the connections and all that stuff. But he seems like one of those. He looks like an LT type guy, Lawrence Taylor.
Oh yeah, and his story is just incredible. To be an unrecruited guy, he grew up 45 minutes outside Tulsa, very small school, 50 kids in his graduating class, and he was a valedictorian. He was, the star quarterback, and he really wanted to play college football, and that didn't seem to really be in the cards for him. He and his mom went to a dozen camps between his junior and senior year, just trying to get someone to pay attention to him. And they didn't realize that Tulsa, was wanting him. They had done their research on him, invited him to their camp, and then offered him that day. And it was kind of a no-brainer because he didn't have any other FBS offers. His only other offer was to play Division II football. So to see how far he's come, he is a 265-pound linebacker. You don't see that every day, but it works for him. He is still able to maintain his speed, and his abilities are pretty unique for someone of his size. So for Tulsa to be able to look at him when he was, a high school quarterback who also played safety and be like, I think we can make a good linebacker out of him. Nobody else is seeing that. So it certainly has benefited Tulsa to have that foresight. And, I think everybody expects him to leave after this season and go play in the NFL.
Interesting. Kelly, can you talk a little bit about, researching Tulsa, they have 3 running backs that average over 4 yards a pop, that have over 60 carries each. This kind of rushing attack is not, it's very rare. And then, the old adage, Kelly, is like, if you have 2 running backs, then you don't have one good one. But I think that's exactly the opposite here. Talk to us about the 3-headed kind of running back attack Tulsa brings.
What's crazy is Tulsa's best running back got injured, tore his ACL the week of the season opener, Shamari Brooks. And so he hasn't obviously played at all. He was going to be the one in the 1-2 punch with Corey Taylor, and Corey Taylor's been banged up quite a bit. And so it's really given an opportunity for some other guys. Deneric Prince is a transfer from Texas A&M, and, he's probably the most explosive of the guys. TK Wilkerson is a local kid who, they all have different styles. And I think it's been good to have that depth because, there have been, obviously there are COVID issues. Everybody is dealing with that, but there have been injuries, and, all of the running backs are such hard runners. They just, they're more likely to get beat up as the season goes on. So, I think having those guys, and even behind them is Christian Lovick and Anthony Watkins, and they played in the fourth quarter oh gosh, I can't remember whatever the last game was. I think it was Navy. They played in that game because there weren't any other options, just because of the number of they had out. So really, they could go 4 or 5 running backs deep, and they even signed another one today, and they just have this like wealth of running backs, which is a pretty good situation to be in because especially if they're different style backs, I think they all bring something to the table.
So Kelly, that's an interesting point. Everyone talks about the depth of a team, right? You never know when your number is going to get called. You got to be ready to go. You got to practice just as hard as the guy that's starting the game.
Yeah, and I think that especially in this season, we've seen a lot of that. And man, thinking back to Tulsa's win against Tulane, I mean, Zach Smith, the starting quarterback, goes down. The backup Seth Boomer goes down, and Davis Brin comes in and is able to save the day with just incredible plays and a lot of luck. But I think that in this season, more than any other, I think we've seen, it's not just with Tulsa. Every team, you're seeing guys step into roles that, wasn't expected. And, it was maybe just because the starter, is having to contact trace and is going to be out. But I think it's given an opportunity for different guys. And selfishly, I enjoy that because it's like different guys to write about and different storylines. It kind of makes it more fun.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, Kelly. Give us keys to the game. What is it imperative to do for Tulsa to pull off this upset on Saturday?
I would say being able to run the ball is going to be really significant. If you aren't able to establish a run game against Cincinnati, then you're going to be become one-dimensional against their defense, and that's not going to be a great situation for Zach Smith. He didn't play well against Cincinnati last year. He's struggled at times this year, especially in the first half, especially in the first quarter. It's when a lot of his mistakes happen, is when he's trying to force something. So, to be able to get him into a rhythm, you need to be able to pick up some yards on the ground and just get the offense flowing. I think that's probably going to be the most significant thing for Tulsa. Tulsa's defense is good. Cincinnati's defense is really good. I think that's going to be difficult to match what Cincinnati does if it becomes somehow alternating scores. I think that Cincinnati has a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball, very complete team, very few weaknesses. I think it's just going to be a matter of if Tulsa's able to move the ball down the field on Cincinnati's defense. Nobody's really been able to do that much, but with Tulsa, I've learned really can't predict what's going to happen in any of their games. They've won in every way possible, in the most dramatic way possible. So, it's hard to count them out in this game.
So Kelly, remember one thing, any given Saturday, anything can happen.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen that on Thursdays and Fridays also this season.
Yeah. And the thing is that, everyone said that Notre Dame wasn't going to beat Clemson, and look what they did. It really comes down to his ball control. If you win the toss, you take the ball. Don't defer to the second half. Run the ball at them. Let's see what happens, but chew that clock, because the more you keep their offense off the field, the less points they can score.
Yeah, I would be, Philip Montgomery, he always defers, and I would be the opposite. I'd always want to take the ball. Like, we want it.
Don't prefer.
That's awesome, Kelly. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. Anyone else have anything for Kelly? Herbie?
No.
All right. Well, thank
Kelly,
you so
good
much
luck
for
this weekend with
joining
the
us.
game, and hopefully,
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, Kelly. Take care. Happy holidays to you.
You
Go
too.
Hurricane. Come on. Dude, I'm raring to go. George, you got to put that hat back on.
Yeah.
I'm never going to talk to you. That is a main stage on the show. Am I right, Herbie?
Yeah, exactly. We need to make that the picture for the marquee of the show.
Epic, man.
George, you look like the guy from the Highway Patrol down in Texas are pulling me over.
Give me 1 second, fellas.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's 9:15 here on the program, and we're waiting for Trevor Groves and our friend Nate Atkins to come on and do a roundtable discussion about the big game this weekend in Charlotte. Real quick, little housekeeping note. I know everybody's probably asked me why am I bringing this up, but I saw this morning when I was working on the program. On this date in 1982, Tom Seaver returned back to the Mets. They traded back for Tom Seaver. The Mets did in 1982, and he was only there for one more year before the Mets shipped him out to didn't protect him, and he went to Chicago. So it's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that. I was like, wow, that's a yeah. And the players are Lorne McLennan, who is actually Lorne McLennan was a manager for the Pirates, dude.
You are just the.
I didn't know he was. I didn't even know he was a Met. I'm like, wow. I always see him as a pirate, Lord McLennan, because he's the worst. Yeah, he was a Pirates manager for a while. So anyway, we're waiting for Trevor Grove and Nate Atkins to jump in here. Next week is we'll be back on the air. Let's do Wednesday before Christmas Eve. We'll do a special 1 hour show. Just wrap up everything until the holidays. We'll recap some of the bowl games. We'll recap the ACC title game. We'll actually talk about the college football playoff situation that, it's probably going to be messed up on Sunday and somebody's going to be really upset. And they're probably going to be, people crying all week. And then we will also have Jordan Moore is a 2021 Duke football recruit that came who was committed to Duke football today. He will come on next Wednesday night to talk to us about being a local kid where I am and being picked up by a Power 5 school like Duke. So that's going to be good. So and then during the holidays, we'll be back on. We're going to take the holidays off. The following week we're going to not do a show. We'll come back in January and recap everything from all the bowl games and get into college basketball and every sport there is that's starting up and maybe the NBA. We'll talk some NBA as well. So we're waiting for somebody to log in here. So thanks for joining us every Wednesday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this year, folks. We did this ever since the start of COVID, so we've been on the air, and we appreciate you joining us every Tuesday and Wednesday. And you got actually, huh?
You got Nate?
I haven't seen Nate yet. I emailed Nate and said you got the link, and still waiting for him. Yeah. And Trevor Groves, they probably got busy watching, somebody, I know Notre Dame's playing Duke right now as we speak in basketball, and the Blue Devils have a 7-point lead on Mike Bray and the Irish. And I want to go see Mike Bray in January. Hopefully COVID's not that bad. They're going to be down at on Martin Luther King birthday. They'll be down in DC playing Howard University. So hopefully that game still goes on. I want to go down and see that game. That's going to be I know Notre Dame probably has more horses than Howard, but that's still a good game for Martin Luther King holiday.
Do we have any more guests coming on?
Well, we're waiting for Nate and Trevor Groves. I text Trevor and I said, "You all set?" He goes, "Yeah." So hopefully he got busy. If not, we'll wait for the. I'll try to text the USC guy and get moving here. What happened?
We can handle it right here.
You want to handle it right here? Yeah, I think we can
handle it.
Yeah, I think we did I think we covered everything, and we'll just give them 2 more minutes, and if they don't log in, we'll wrap it up, and I'll tell the USC guy we'll get him on next week because we have to, because I don't want him to wait around all night,
Yeah, we don't want to wait around all night either.
Give them a couple minutes, and then the three of us can have a roundtable discussion.
Yeah, we can do it. We've been doing a roundtable discussion all night.
Yeah, exactly. We've been doing that all night. So
right.
That hat is awesome, George. I love that hat. Well, let me ask you something. Would it be considered faux pas if a Hispanic like myself wore a hat like that?
Absolutely not. There's a representation of my
Herbie, what do I always tell you? I need a good country girl. I say it all the time. but I think I'm missing the hat and the boots, George. I mean, how can I want a country girl? Yeah, there it is. Oh, there's a new sheriff. He needs a toothpick, Herbie.
Sheriff, man.
He needs a toothpick. Get him a badge, Herbie.
Get him a badge.
That is awesome. George, I never loved you as much as I do right now, brother.
I'm getting ready. I'm thinking about going to watch City Slickers when I get off this program. I want to watch City Slickers.
So listen, what do you guys want to like? Hey, what do you guys? You want to just talk about some of the games on Saturday because I'm just waiting around. I got my dinner waiting. So what are we doing here? If you guys want to wait, that's fine. Yeah, let's do something because we're in limbo here.
Right. Well, let's talk about the first game of the afternoon. It's going to be you got the Big Ten. We already talked about the Big Ten. It's actually the Big 12 playing each other, Oklahoma and Iowa State. So what do you think about that game?
I would take Iowa State. I think they're on a roll.
Yes, George, I'm with you. Brock Purdy.
They played Notre Dame so well last year. Think about that. Last year, they came in. They got to the Camping World Bowl. They played Notre Dame. They played a good game. It's just that Notre Dame was emerging from that game, but Iowa State they've had quite a season.
Yeah, they did. I think Iowa State has the advantage because, and also people don't realize Iowa State beat Oklahoma State this year and last year. Yep. So they know how to beat them. So that's the 12 noon games, and then we already know about the 4 o'clock
in that game too. Iowa State's getting 6 points, George. I'm going to take the points.
I would take those points all day.
Yeah, so Trevor just texted me and said he's running late. Should I just tell him we'll get him on next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, next we talked about the 4 o'clock game. Let's talk about the 8 o'clock games. You got the SEC championship game, Florida versus Alabama, and you got Cincinnati and Tulsa.
So here's an interesting part. There could be a whole lot of mess going on. There could be a whole big mess. What if, because we all, as we talked to, I believe it was Kelly earlier, what if Florida goes in and they beat Alabama? Anything's possible. Looking past an opponent.
I agree.
Right. I mean, it would create such a cluster of really it just opens up the door to such scrutiny for the college football playoff. Is it a bad thing? I don't think so. I mean, I would love to see it. I'm an upset guy. Herbie tells me all the time, I always want to bet on the Cinderellas, but I'm taking Bama and I'm laying the 18. There it is.
Yeah, that's true. I think Alabama has so much firepower. And I'm sorry, the Gators, they had an opportunity to beat LSU last week until they threw their shoe at somebody. It's like, who the hell did that? Where did the shoe come from?
Chris, George, explain to me how Florida loses to LSU, who have been trampled by everyone, and they lose one spot. Tell me.
That's the whole discussion we had last week, by the way. It's a subjective panel versus an objective panel. And when you allow subjectivity to come into your selection process, it gets to be, I think Herbie and I talked about last week, it gets to be like the BCS. The BCS got they were picking and choosing who was going to be there. But they went through a calculation of sorts. Now this is even worse, is because you're taking a process that was computer driven by a logarithm and a formula, and you're letting 12 people sit in a room and make a decision. It's very very concerning.
And also, this whole college football playoff thing is, I feel like I think they need to get rid of the 4 teams and get back to the old, get 3 and 6 teams, get to the top 6. You got these, you got Florida, you got, Iowa State, you got, Jimbo, Texas A&M, and one of them's going to start whining and say, we beat one of them. It's like, just get it over it and get back to the top 6 teams, go to the college football playoff. Get it
So,
over with.
Chris, first it goes to 6. Then a couple years later, someone else is complaining, and now it's 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? Before you know it, as I talked on the show the other night, you have a field of 64. The whole season becomes irrelevant.
I'm with you. I'm with you, George. I'm totally with you. 4, stick with that. If we go to 6, then eventually we'll go to 8, and then, right.
And you'll be playing games into February. You'll be playing clear right through the combine.
Exactly. I agree. So keep on playing. So, all right, folks, we're gonna wrap it up here. We got nothing else to talk about. We got all the games except for they got the Big Ten. They'll be playing individual little games like Michigan, Michigan State taking on Maryland, and Michigan versus Iowa that got canceled, and Purdue and Indiana got canceled, and basically the Big Ten is just trying to make up things this weekend.
But guys, I don't know how this whole season is going to play out. With all these games getting canceled, what are the chances of half of these bowl games getting played?
I guess we'll take it as it comes, guys. But hey, great. George, the highlight of the show, the hat. No question. I mean, stop taking it off. You're getting me all upset over here, dude. That hat was born for you. Am I right or wrong, Herbie? Herbie will tell me.
Oh yeah, that hat. I feel like I'm gonna get pulled over by the cop right now. Officer, I did not go.
He needs a toothpick. All right, guys. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. I'm out.
Ewan, real quick. He looks like Smokey and the Bandit. With the guy.
That's epic, Herbie. You've been holding that. You've been holding that gem all this time. Oh my gosh! All right, I love you guys. Great show.
Hey, take it easy, guys.
All right, see you. All right.